Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. How many times in your life has someone looked at you and decided, without knowing your heart, without knowing your hunger, that you couldn't do it? They told you it was impossible. They told you to be realistic. They told you to stay in your lane. And if you're honest, some of those voices didn't come from strangers. They came from people you loved. And over time, those voices started living in your own head. But here's the truth you must understand today. The moment you decide to prove them wrong is the moment your life begins to change. Action is the bridge between dreams and reality. But most people misunderstand what it truly means to take massive action. They think action is doing a little bit here and there, checking off tasks, or waiting for motivation to strike before they move. That is not action. It's activity, and it rarely produces results. Massive action is relentless, it is purposeful, and it is sustained even when the outcome is uncertain. It is the kind of action that scares you because it pushes you beyond comfort, challenges your limits, and forces growth. Every person who has achieved something remarkable did not wait for perfect conditions. They created momentum by moving forward, one bold step at a time. Fear is always present when you're about to step into something big. It whispers, "Oh, what if you fail? Or what if you fail? Or what if you're not ready?" Most people let that whisper stop them. But massive action is about leaning into the fear, not avoiding it. It is about acting before you feel ready, because readiness rarely comes first. Action builds confidence, not the other way around. When you take massive action, you prove to yourself that you are capable, and that proof compounds with every decision, every effort, and every risk you take. Momentum builds when action is consistent, and once momentum is present, progress accelerates faster than motivation ever could. Massive action also requires total commitment. It is not a half-hearted attempt or a try-and-see approach. It is deciding that nothing, not doubt, not criticism, not discomfort, will prevent you from moving forward. It is being willing to fail multiple times, to adjust, to pivot, and to persist when results are not immediate. Most people quit at the first sign of struggle, but massive action is about persistence in the face of obstacles. It is about taking responsibility for your results instead of blaming circumstances or waiting for someone else to pave the way. Finally, massive action is transformative because it trains your mind and body simultaneously. The more you act, the more clarity you gain, the sharper your instincts become, and the stronger your belief in yourself grows. Every bold step reinforces your identity, strengthens your discipline, and expands your capacity to achieve more than you ever thought possible. Action is not just what produces results, it is what transforms ordinary individuals into extraordinary ones. When you commit to moving forward relentlessly, you create a life that proves not just to others, but to yourself that you can accomplish anything. Discipline is the engine that keeps you moving when motivation fades. Most people rely entirely on feeling inspired or waiting for the perfect moment, and that is why so many dreams never materialize. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the weather. Discipline, on the other hand, is consistent. It is a decision you make every single day to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it, even when it's inconvenient, even when the world seems to be working against you. True success is built on habits maintained by discipline, not bursts of enthusiasm. When you develop discipline, you no longer have to negotiate with yourself. You stop asking, "Do I feel like it today?" or "Will it be easy?" You do it because that is who you are. Discipline removes choice in the moment and replaces it with action aligned to your larger purpose. It is the ability to delay short-term comfort for long-term results. Every successful person has learned that consistency beats intensity. A single inspired effort without follow-through is worthless. Repeated efforts, even small ones, compounded over time, produce extraordinary results. Discipline is especially powerful because it trains your mind to overcome resistance. Life will always present distractions, excuses, and temptations that pull you away from your goals. Without discipline, you give in to these forces, and progress slows or stops entirely. With discipline, you create boundaries, stick to routines, and master self-control. You learn to prioritize what truly matters and eliminate what doesn't. This skill becomes a force multiplier, allowing you to execute on your goals with precision and purpose. Discipline also strengthens your character. It builds resilience, patience, and self-respect. Each time you choose action over avoidance, each time you choose long-term growth over short-term gratification, you reinforce your identity as someone capable, determined, and unstoppable. Discipline transforms you from a person who hopes for results into a person who produces them. It is not glamorous, it is not flashy, but it is the foundation of achievement, and without it, talent, intelligence, and opportunity are wasted. The most successful people in the world do not rely on luck or fleeting bursts of inspiration. They rely on disciplined systems that keep them moving forward no matter what. Discipline turns ordinary routines into extraordinary outcomes. It is the bridge between intention and accomplishment. By committing to disciplined action every day, you create unstoppable momentum. And that momentum is what separates those who dream from those who actually achieve. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Every person who has achieved greatness has faced moments of discomfort, rejection, and hardship. Pain shows up in many forms: failure, loss, criticism, or the harsh reality that progress is slower than you expected. Most people try to avoid it, ignore it, or numb it, but the truth is that pain is not your enemy. Pain is a signal, a message that growth is required. It is the raw material from which strength, resilience, and transformation are built. How you respond to pain determines whether it will break you or make you stronger. Using pain as a catalyst requires a shift in perspective. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Or "How can I learn from this?" Or "How can I use this to rise?" Pain is a natural teacher. It strips away illusions, exposes weaknesses, and forces clarity. The moment you stop resisting it, you can harness it as fuel. Every challenge, every disappointment, every setback carries an opportunity. The chance to prove to yourself that you are stronger than you thought, braver than you imagined, and more capable than you realized. Pain becomes a test of commitment, and your response writes your character. When you decide to use pain as a catalyst, you stop being a victim of circumstances. You take ownership of your life, and you transform adversity into action. Instead of letting fear, anger, or frustration control you, you channel that energy into progress. Pain sharpens your focus because it forces you to confront what matters most. It forces you to cut through distractions, excuses, and indecision. It forces you to build habits, resilience, and a mindset that cannot be shaken by external challenges. The people who achieve extraordinary success do not avoid pain. They embrace it. They understand that discomfort is temporary, but the growth that comes from confronting it is permanent. They see obstacles not as threats, but as opportunities to elevate themselves. Every moment of struggle becomes a stepping stone toward mastery. Every scar a reminder of the battles they overcame. Ultimately, pain is a catalyst because it separates those who settle from those who rise. It transforms ordinary people into resilient leaders, ordinary ideas into extraordinary achievements, and ordinary lives into remarkable stories. The more effectively you learn to embrace and leverage pain, the more unstoppable you become. Pain becomes not a limit, but a launch pad, propelling you toward the future you were always capable of creating. Doubt shows up in every life, but what separates ordinary people from extraordinary ones is not the absence of doubt, it's the decision of what to do with it. Most people experience doubt and immediately treat it as a stop sign. They interpret it as a warning that they are not ready, not capable, not enough. But doubt is not a signal to stop. Doubt is a signal to grow. It is proof that you are standing at the edge of something larger than your comfort zone. Every meaningful breakthrough in your life begins with uncertainty, because if it felt certain, it would not require expansion. When someone doubts you, the first reaction is emotional. It hurts. It challenges your identity. But the real danger is not the doubt itself. It is when you personalize it and turn it into a belief. The moment you say, "Maybe they're right," you hand over your power. Instead, you must train yourself to ask a different question. How can I use this? Because doubt contains energy, and energy, when directed, becomes fuel. The same emotion that can paralyze you can also propel you forward if you attach it to a stronger meaning. Knotting doubt into fuel starts with controlling the story in your head. If the story is, "This doubt means I'm weak," you shrink. If the story becomes, "This doubt is sharpening me," you rise. Your brain is constantly looking for evidence to support the meaning you choose. Choose a meaning that serves you, and your focus shifts from fear to strategy, from hesitation to action. Every great achiever has been underestimated, dismissed, or ignored at some point. What they did differently was refuse to let doubt define their ceiling. They used it as pressure to refine their skills, to raise their standards, to prepare more obsessively than anyone else. Doubt forced them to become stronger, faster, more disciplined. It turned into hunger. It turned into resolve. The truth is, confidence is not built before action. It is built because of action. When you move forward despite doubt, you prove something far more important than other people wrong. You prove your old self wrong. And with each step taken in the presence of doubt, your identity shifts from someone who wonders if they can to someone who knows they will. Emotional control is the hidden force behind every successful life. Most people believe that success comes from talent, intelligence, or luck, but the reality is far simpler and far more powerful. It comes from managing your emotions when everything around you is trying to pull you off course. Life will challenge you with frustration, fear, anger, and disappointment. It doesn't matter how talented you are if you let these emotions dictate your actions. Emotional mastery is not about suppressing feelings. It's about choosing how you respond to them. It's about deciding in the heat of the moment that your next move will be guided by strategy, not impulse. When pressure rises, your primitive brain wants to react instinctively. It wants to panic, lash out, or retreat. That's normal. But the difference between someone who succeeds and someone who doesn't is that the successful person has trained themselves to pause, to recognize the emotion without being controlled by it, and then to redirect that energy into productive action. Anger can become determination. Fear can become focus. Frustration can become persistence. Every emotion has the potential to be either your master or your tool, and the choice is always yours. Controlling your emotions also means recognizing how subtle patterns shape your life. A single moment of impatience, a brief surge of jealousy, or a whisper of doubt can ripple outward into decisions that derail progress. The people who achieve their goals consistently are not exempt from these emotions. They simply refuse to let them define the narrative of their life. They understand that external circumstances will never be perfectly aligned, and waiting for perfect conditions is the fastest route to stagnation. Emotional control allows you to take ownership of your results, regardless of the chaos surrounding you. Furthermore, emotional control strengthens your relationships, your focus, and your resilience. When you can stay composed under pressure, people trust you, opportunities gravitate toward you, and your mind remains clear enough to solve problems that others overlook. This is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Not luck, not intelligence, not timing, but the ability to remain steady, decisive, and motivated when emotions run high. Ultimately, emotional mastery is the bridge between intention and action. Without it, even the best plans crumble under stress. With it, you can transform obstacles into opportunities, criticism into fuel, and fear into unwavering focus. It is the skill that allows you to act from power rather than reaction. And it is the secret weapon of everyone who has ever turned their vision into reality. Your identity is the foundation of everything you do. Most people think results come first. If I achieve this, if I earn that, if I succeed here, then I will feel confident, capable, and worthy. But the truth is the opposite. Lasting results come after your identity shifts. Before you can consistently achieve extraordinary things, you must first see yourself as the type of person who is capable of achieving them. Identity is not about a title or a label. It's about the stories you tell yourself about who you are and what you are capable of. What you are capable of. Every thought you repeat, every belief you accept, shapes the version of yourself that shows up in the world. The moment you try to produce results without changing your identity, you are fighting against yourself. You will act in ways that are inconsistent with the person you think you are. You will make excuses, hesitate, and sabotage your own efforts. That's why so many people fail to follow through on goals they deeply desire. They're trying to act like someone else without becoming that someone else at their core. Changing your actions without changing your identity is like planting seeds in frozen soil. It might seem promising, but nothing will grow until the environment changes. The person who achieves big goals thinks differently, acts differently, and makes decisions differently from the person who settles for average. They don't just work hard, they operate from a set of beliefs that empowers their actions. They see challenges as opportunities rather than threats. They see failure as feedback rather than proof of inadequacy. They see themselves as someone who can handle discomfort, push beyond limits, and take responsibility for their life. Once you adopt this identity, your actions naturally follow. You don't need motivation every day because your new sense of self drives your behavior automatically. You stop negotiating with excuses because excuses are incompatible with who you now know yourself to be. You persist when others quit, and you focus when others are distracted. When can you focus when others? Your identity becomes a self-reinforcing engine, guiding you toward results that once seemed impossible. Ultimately, success is not about proving others wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you are capable of becoming more than you ever imagined. When you transform your identity, your mindset shifts, your habits shift, and your life transforms. You stop chasing results that feel temporary and start building a reality that aligns with the person you were always meant to be. Because proving them wrong is not about them. It's about who you become in the process. You see, most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they internalize doubt. They let someone else's limited belief define their future. They let one opinion outweigh their potential. And the most dangerous thing is not what others say to you, it's when you start saying it to yourself. The mindset that changes everything is the decision that your past does not get to vote on your future. When people doubt you, it hurts. But pain is not your enemy. Pain is a signal. Pain is saying there's more in you. Pain can either break you or it can drive you. And the difference is the meaning you give it. If you decide that pain means you're not enough, you quit. If you decide that pain means it's time to rise, you transform.